The lion pair was said to have killed 135 people. Holy shit.
They quickly learned that you shouldn't hang your legs and dangle your legs in the water and kick your legs in the water. And that's a bad thing to do because the sharks will come up and take that leg off.
Hey guys, Jared here. Today we're looking at some of the world's worst animal attacks in human history. And when I say worst, I really do mean worst. Some of these are absolutely brutal. Human-animal conflicts have been around since the beginning of time, but some have been much deadlier than others. From tigers, sharks, bears, to even 2 serial-killing animals named after Osama bin Laden. These stories feel like scenes from a horror movie, but the shocking part? They're all true and utterly terrifying. Why did a tiger kill over 400 people? How did hundreds of soldiers end up in shark-infested waters? And what made an elephant in India go on an absolute rampage? Bengal tigers can eat up to 88 pounds in one meal. Thankfully, they aren't known to eat humans, but in the early 1900s, one tiger in Nepal had no other choice. Known by legend as the Champawat Tiger, named after a town in northern India, this ferocious tigress had an insatiable hunger for humans. Starting in the village of Rupal in western Nepal, her first few kills seemed like isolated incidents. But as her kill count increased, so too did the villagers' fear. Panic spread quickly. Those living by the forest's edge cowered in fear. Mass hysteria over the predator led to people abandoning their homes and farms. Over several years, the tigress mauled and took the lives of 200 Nepalese villagers. Hunters in the village could not get the beast in their sights. Finally, the Nepalese army was called in. But although they were ready to end the massacre, the legendary Tiger Queen was far more elusive than they expected. It's believed that she swam across the Sharda River, bordering India and Nepal, and ended up in her namesake's town, Champawat. Mainly targeting women and children, the Champawat tiger would travel up to 20 miles daily to kill. And while most tigers hunt at night, she snuck up on weak and unsuspecting prey during the daytime. It was clear that she had no fear of humans whatsoever. In 1907, the British government, which controlled India at the time, stepped in, offering a handsome reward for the tiger's capture. When the renowned British hunter and conservationist Jim Corbett got wind of this, he made it his life's mission to track down and kill his latest mass-murdering nemesis. Organizing a patrol of 300 villagers, Corbett set up baited traps, tracked paw prints, and combed through the area. Finally, he had a lead. When the tiger killed a 16-year-old girl, it left behind a trail of blood. Corbett ordered the villagers to surround the area, creating a barrier. Loud shouts and pounding drums drew the tiger closer to him. At last, he had the Tiger Queen in his sights. Corbett took several shots and finally clipped his target, but it wasn't fatal. He quickly ran out of ammo and the tiger was furious. In the nick of time, he grabbed a villager's shotgun and shot the tiger dead just 20 feet in front of him. Talk about a close call. I would completely shit my pants in this scenario. When all was said and done, the Champawat tiger is believed to have killed 436 people, giving it the record for most fatalities by a single animal. But why did she hunt so many people? Well, Corbett and the villagers found that the upper and lower canines on her right side were damaged. This made it harder for her to hunt her natural prey, so instinctively, she resorted to easier targets, unsuspecting humans. Jim Corbett etched his name in history by taking down man-eating big cats, including a leopard with a bloodlust. Leopards are some of the most agile ambush predators in the wild. They could run up to 36 miles per hour, jump 10 feet high, and pounce forward as far as 20 feet. In 1918, when a leopard in India got its first taste of human flesh, it was hooked. Between 1918 and 1926, in the city of Rudraprayag, the famed leopard is believed to have killed 125 people, though its total kill count is likely higher. Villagers feared going out at night, but that didn't stop the killings. This leopard would break into people's homes, jumping through windows or digging through the mud walls of huts to kill its next victim. Like the Champawat tiger, the British government placed a bounty on the leopard, leading to numerous hunters and even soldiers trying to hunt it down. And once again, Jim Corbett stepped in. Neither traps, bullets, nor poison could defeat the leopard of Rudraprayag. Even Corbett had trouble finding it, until one night, after months of searching, he got his opportunity. Using a live goat as bait, Corbett sat in a tree, waiting for the leopard to strike. When it did, he landed a lucky shot to its shoulder, putting its 8-year reign of terror to an end on May 2nd, 1926. It remains a matter of debate as to why the leopard turned into a man-eater. Corbett suspected the influenza epidemic that rocked the country in 1918 was the culprit. Unburied bodies provided an easy source of food for the leopard, which quickly grew accustomed to scavenging for humans. When the corpses dried up, it moved on to the living. Now, one big cat is bad enough to deal with, but two? That's nightmare fuel. And it's exactly what workers in Kenya had to contend with for nearly a year.
And this is not a normal behavior. This is not something that normal lions will do. This is an indication that these lions have learned that people are prey, and they're actually preying on humans like they'd prey on any other animals.
During the construction of the Kenya-Uganda Railway in late March 1898 in the Tsavo region of Kenya, workers began to disappear from their tents at night. Between April and December, 2 hungry male lions killed dozens, devouring every last piece of them. At first, crews tried to deter the lions by building fences made of thorns and lighting campfires. But they were persistent, and their attacks became more brazen.
The crews left, they abandoned their work and took the train back to the coast and said, "We're not going back to work until these lions are gone."
Lieutenant Colonel John Henry Patterson, who was in charge of the project, took it upon himself to put an end to the brutal killings. And no, there's no relation to Bruce Patterson, just a funny coincidence. Initially, he set up traps using human remains and animal carcasses as bait, but the lions weren't fooled. Patterson then shifted to using live goats while he sat in a tree, ready to take his shot. On December 9th, Patterson was able to shoot and wound one of the lions. The next morning, he tracked it down and killed it. Just a few weeks later, he was able to lure the second lion with live bait and shoot it multiple times, killing it. Like the Champawat Tiger's damaged teeth, some believe the lions targeted the workers because one of them had a canine infection, making it harder to hunt its normal prey. Others theorize that an outbreak of rinderpest, or cattle plague, wiped out their usual prey, forcing them to find alternatives. According to John Henry Patterson, over the course of 9 months, the Tsavo man-eaters took the lives of 135 people. But a 2009 study shows that number could have been closer to 35. In 1924, the lion's remains were sold to the Field Museum of Natural History in Chicago, where they sit on display as of 2025. The advice to survive all of these big cats, whether it's a lion, leopard, or tiger, is the same. Back away slowly, don't look at it directly in the eyes, and don't run. If it does attack, use anything you can as a weapon and aim for its sensitive spots, such as its eyes or snout. Our next incident is considered the worst animal attack in Japan's history, and it took place over the course of a week. In 1915, the village of Sankei-betsu in Hokkaido, Japan, was ravaged by a 750-pound Usuri brown bear standing 9 feet tall that woke up early from hibernation. The bear first appeared in mid-November, raiding a farm in the village. Days later, hunters were hired to kill it. They managed to shoot the bear, but it escaped. They were hopeful this incident would deter it from visiting the village again. Unfortunately, they were wrong. On December 9th, the bear returned, killing an infant and a woman in their home. The next day, the woman's remains were found buried in the snow, partially eaten. Panic spread throughout the village. Men armed themselves and guards were called in. On the evening of December 10th, the bear came back, this time breaking into another house where some of the village's women and children were sheltering. In total, 3 children and a pregnant woman were killed. A guard, another woman, and 2 kids were also severely injured. Even with the house surrounded, it managed to escape yet again. Days later, it returned looking for more food. At this point, 60 armed men, including an expert bear hunter named Yamamoto Hakichi, were on the lookout. 1 shot was fired, but the now injured bear fled once more. The next morning, the hunters were able to track its bloodstains in the snow, and Hakichi got as close as 60 feet to shoot the bear. With 1 shot to the heart and a second to the head, the Sankei-betsu Usuri brown bear was killed. Sadly, one of the children attacked by the bear died 3 years later due to their injuries. In total, the bear was responsible for killing 7 people over its 6-day reign of terror. When entering bear territory, always carry bear spray and ensure you know how to use it. Make noise to avoid scaring them and sending them into an aggressive state. If you see one, carefully walk the other way. For brown bears like this one, if you are attacked, play dead. Seriously, lie on your stomach with your hands clasped behind your neck, spread your legs out so you're harder to turn over. Stay completely still until the bear leaves the area. Did it leave yet? Before we claw into our next attack, if you're enjoying How to Survive, please like and subscribe. It really helps us out. Now, we focused mainly on animal attacks on land, but this next story was an underwater nightmare. On July 30th, 1945, during the Second World War, The USS Indianapolis was struck by Japanese torpedoes, sinking it. The initial strikes killed around 300, with 900 other men ending up stranded in the middle of the ocean. Unfortunately, their battle for survival was just beginning. Things were so dire for the crew members that some of them didn't drown because of the water, they literally drowned in oil spewing from the wreckage. Others succumbed to dehydration after ingesting the ocean's salt water. At night, hypothermia killed even more. Between blood pooling in the water and lifeless bodies floating everywhere, it was only a matter of time before the ocean's predators started to appear.
So when sharks find a food item, they really aren't going to let it go without a fight. They're going to find a way to eat. That's what they do.
At first, a group of oceanic white-tip sharks fed on the dead and wounded. But once they were gone, the remaining survivors started to get picked off one by one. Considered one of the deadliest shark attacks of all time, it's believed that sharks killed between a few dozen and 150 Navy men over the course of 4 days. The situation was slow-motion chaos, and survivors were suffering from such severe injuries and exhaustion that they couldn't say for certain how many of their shipmates were lost to the sharks. In an effort to fend off the apex predators, they stayed in large groups, kicking the sharks as they approached, but doing so put them at risk of losing a limb. Sharks tend to avoid groups, but if you spot one, swim away and try to get to shore. If you are attacked, you'll want to aim for its gills or snout, but hopefully it won't get to that. After those 4 days in the water, the remaining survivors were rescued. In total, 316 men were pulled from the water alive, but the trauma they went through would stay with them forever. Speaking of trauma, when you hear the name Osama bin Laden, you probably don't think of a killer elephant, but that's exactly what our next story is all about. With rapid population growth and the destruction of elephants' natural habitats in India, human-elephant conflicts are an ongoing occurrence in many regions. And it's been like that for a while. Between 2004 and 2006, one elephant in the Indian state of Assam went on a rampage, destroying hundreds of homes and killing 27 people. Standing 10 feet tall, the elephant, which was named Osama bin Laden, presumably for being a terrorist, trampled 14 people to death in 1 month alone. Now, it's hard to say why exactly Osama went on such a rampage, but when bull elephants are in what is called must season, their testosterone levels can surge to more than 60 times higher than normal, which can lead to heightened aggression and territorial behavior. After evading authorities for 2 years, the elephant was finally cornered at a tea plantation, where it was shot and killed. Osama's reign of terror was finally over, or was it? Following the news, protests broke out, with many questioning if the right elephant was killed. Although it was identified because it had no tusks, experts claimed the elephant that was killed may have been a look-alike. On top of that, the elephant was killed more than 50 miles from where it was known to frequent. To make matters worse, it was buried without having its footprints or dimensions verified, which would have confirmed that it was, in fact, Osama who was killed. Some even feared the herd the elephant belonged to would seek revenge, and it seems their fears were warranted. Just days after the killing, a group of elephants destroyed homes within the vicinity where it was gunned down. Oddly enough, this was just the first of a few elephants named Osama that would wreak havoc in India. Now, elephants are usually gentle around humans, but in the event you're about to be attacked by one, try to get into a ditch or climb a tree. Running in a zigzag can also help, as elephants have a tough time making sharp turns, given their massive size. Believe it or not, we have yet another deadly predator named Osama, who terrorized a Ugandan village for nearly 15 years. Nile crocodiles are believed to kill an average of 200 people every year. Found across parts of Africa, they can grow up to 20 feet and weigh over 1,500 pounds. They're known to eat everything, from fish to buffalo, and unsuspecting humans. Villagers who frequented Lake Victoria ran the risk of being attacked by one croc in particular that was known for being a man-eater. Between 1991 and 2005, one named Osama was responsible for eating 83 people, roughly 10% of the village of Luganda. And it spared no one, from young children to the elderly. If it wasn't ambushing people coming to fill their water buckets, it was capsizing boats. In some instances, it jumped into boats to attack. Osama was a killing machine. That is, until he was finally captured in 2005 after a 7-day hunt. In total, 50 people worked together, led by the Uganda Wildlife Authority, to set up a trap to end this monster's killing ways once and for all. The group used cow lungs as bait, and it worked. A trap hoisted Osama up into a tree. A copper snare was used to wire his jaw shut, but rather than kill him, he was handed over to Uganda Crocs Limited. Apparently, he was then used to breed other crocodiles, which were used in the fashion industry. I don't agree with this, but the locals felt he should have been given a harsher punishment. Being attacked by a croc is almost a death sentence, and if you're unarmed, the only thing that may be able to save you is luck. Survival starts with keeping your distance. In a close encounter, aim for the eyes or the palatal valve behind the tongue. Yep, I know. Easier said than done when a crocodile is drowning you in a death roll. Remember, these attacks are all pretty rare incidents. Most of these animals try to avoid us, and they should still be treated with the respect and dignity they deserve. Although many believe humans are apex predators, thanks to our ability to arm ourselves, I hope you found these stories humbling. Think we left anything out? Let us know in the comments down below. In most situations, traveling in groups, carrying a weapon, and knowing what animals to expect when you're out and about will always increase your odds of survival. However, when you keep exotic animals as pets, well, it's only a matter of time before things go wrong. And if you want to see what I mean by that, check out our next video. We'll see you next time on How to Survive.